all about having a plan. Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to make sure you pass something down to your kids? That's where we come in and we start formulating a plan to get you to that position.
This is Smoking Ice.
On today's episode, you'll meet someone you don't want to miss.
And I guarantee you'll learn something that will financially help you.
Smoking Ice starts now.
Welcome to Smoke and Ice with Kelly and Wayne. This is the podcast where you're not only informed, but entertained. Sit back, relax, and remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you can't chill without ice. Now, here are your hosts, Kelly Allen and Wayne McCullers.
Welcome back. You've now entered into another episode of Smoking Ice, where smoke meets sophistication and ice meets intensity. I'm Kelly Allen.
And I'm Wayne McCullers. And this episode, we have another treat for you. We just keep bringing it. Today, we have a gentleman that hopefully will give you some financial tidbits that you can take to your life and apply and do changes. This gentleman here he studied at UNC, went from the political field to the financial section. So basically, he went from law to the boardrooms at First Citizen Bank. My honor, my pleasure to introduce my man, Manny.
How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Welcome.
Hey.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start off like we always do, as if Smoke over there will do the honors of pouring. Today's bourbon is Bulleit.
Now, normally I don't pour for Jim. I'm going to ride this time.
I appreciate
And this
you.
is a straight Kentucky bourbon. It's got an elevated rye content, really smooth. It's nice. And it's got a great price point. If you're new to bourbon and you want to try it out, Bulleit is something that you want to do. And he poured my last, so I'm kind of offended, but it's okay. It's okay.
The bottle was closest to me. It just worked out that way.
He's a gentleman and a scholar.
Right. All right, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Here we go. Cheers. All right.
That's good.
It is. I was just about to ask you because, Manny, I know you love bourbon.
I do love bourbon. It's good.
It's good for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and light up our cigar. Okay. Now, this cigar is Buenaventura. None of us have tasted it, so we're getting ready to let you know on the scene how this tastes.
So I do know that these are hand rolled.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a medium body on it. It's not bad.
Not too strong.
I'll be the judge of that. Yeah, I can't disagree. Smooth smoke.
Smooth, yep. Yeah. Just like you, right?
You know what? That's why you my guy. My man, that's why you my guy.
Smoke.
So I'm hoping that the smoke shop, Apex Cigar Lounge, who sold this to me, he said it holds a good ash. So we're going to see if that holds true.
Yeah.
All right. And we did say ash this week because last time it didn't sound like that and they had to correct me. But it's ash.
Ash.
Yes, ash.
Okay. Well, man, if you're ready,
yes,
let's get to some questions.
Hey, let's jump into it.
So, my brother, my first question is, number one, you studied at UNC Chapel Hill, which, go Tar Heels. That's
no
Hills. But I saw that you studied political science with American and African American studies.
Yes, sir.
What made you choose that field?
So, again, thanks for the invite. Smoke, Ice. It's a privilege to be here today, and just looking forward to this conversation. It's a much needed conversation that we need to have in our community. So, back to the question. Grew up in Greensboro. Went to Smith High School. I was part of the IB, club, or the IB like AP.
Right.
So, growing up, I didn't really know a lot about African American history. You only knew MLK, Malcolm X, and not, the nuances of history and what makes us who we are. So when I got the opportunity to get to Chapel Hill, I was like, I'm going to find out myself. So I started taking classes and learning more and having a more understanding of who we are where we've come from and where we're going. So I really wanted to understand, and you don't know what you don't know. So I made it my purpose to find out more, and even finding out that ranch dressing was made by an African American person. So these are all the things that we don't learn and we are not taught growing up. So if we don't take the onus on ourselves to kind of find out, then it's just missing and it's just lost. So I wanted to learn that. And if not, then how do we pass on our history? We got to learn it. So that's what made me, lean towards more African American history.
All right, I got you. Now, with that, once you graduated, I saw you worked at a law firm.
I worked. It was good, and this was while I was doing it in college. I worked at the Center for Civil Rights for 4 years throughout my whole undergraduate career, and my intention was to be an attorney. So throughout my whole life, I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to set rights, wrongs, set them rights. I'm the baby in the family, baby of 6. So I'm always joshing for being correct, being right, and that never happens. It don't really matter if you turn 50, 60, you're still the baby. Right. So I had a passion and a desire to fight for the underdog. So I wanted to be an attorney. And by working at the Center for Civil Rights, I gained a new appreciation for the work that's being done that's not always discussed or talked about on TV or online. And that was my path. Wanted to work with families and kids before they got into the juvenile system. Because once they got in, it was too late.
Right.
So if you can get them before they walk through those jail, cells, then you've done your job.
Right.
So that was my path of trying to be an attorney to fight for the little man.
My man. Now, you want to ask this next question, or shall I?
Go ahead.
All right. So, you're working at a law firm.
Yep.
What made you decide to go to the financial industry?
So.
Need a sip for that one?
Yeah. One of my fraternity brothers told me that, first I was bartending after college.
Okay.
Right. Studying to become, studying for my LSATs to go to law school. And one of my fraternity brothers told me that this company was hiring. The bar closed down and I needed to, pay my rent. Mama said I can come back home to Greensboro. I said, nah, I'm okay. I want to stay in Chapel Hill. So I decided to, find a job. And one of my friends told me this bank was hiring. So I applied. And the funny thing was, the checks that was being cut as a bartender was from the same bank.
Really?
And I never really looked at it because, you get paid, you just go to the bank, cash your check, and just keep on going. Mm-hmm. So it was BB&T. And I applied, I got hired, and I was still studying for the LSATs, and I realized I had a knack for finance. And I also got to see the lack of financial literacy that was missing and lacking in our neighborhoods, right? So I decided to make a pivot. And if I knew what I know now, I had a full ride to Chapel Hill. If I know what I know now, I would have gone through that path, go to the B school at Chapel Hill, then started my financial career. But I thought I was going to be an attorney, so I went on that path. And that pivot made me say, okay, I can't help families in the court system, right? However, I can still help them financially. That's another burden that you can take off somebody if you know your finances. So I decided to say, okay, let's pivot. Life gives you lemons and makes a lemonade, right?
Right.
So I decided to pivot and start that journey of being a banker. I don't have anybody in my family who's a banker. I have an old uncle who was a banker, but nobody directly in my family who's a banker. So what does that entail? How do you go about doing it? And I just went for it, and that was almost 15 years ago now. I started out as a part-time teller because I was studying. Then part-time teller, went to become a banker. Then from a banker, worked in a branch. Then I became a portfolio manager Also worked as multiple jobs, an underwriter, business officer, and I just kept going. And now I'm in my current position as a business development officer with First Citizens Bank.
It sounds like you've been on a path of advocacy, regardless of what you thought you were going to do, to pivoting into the finance. And with you being an advocate for making sure that we all have financial literacy, what area do you think is most critical that we all need to know?
Finance is something that is not really discussed a lot in our communities because it's kind of taboo to ask, hey, where did this money go? Where's it coming from? How do you make money? How do we pay our bills? We don't talk about it. Family, parents don't want to talk about it with the kids. So as a result, we don't really know. Some kids don't even know how to, use a checkbook. Some kids don't know how to balance your checkbook or their account. And it's something that's not rarely discussed. So knowing what your money is going to and what you have left and so you can have something for a rainy day is something that we don't know. Everybody's living beyond their means, and which is something that we do a lot. So how can we change that? So somebody can say, hey, my business made $1 million, but how much did you really take home? Right? Yeah, you can claim $1 million, but with all your expenses, what's left? Or I got paid, $80,000 on my W-2 income, but how much do you have in your 401k? How much do you have saved? So in case something happens, you and your family, you guys will be okay. So that's what's missing. What's missing is financial literacy and being able to understand, your plus and minuses, and knowing we're not going to be able to keep working the way we are right now. Everybody's not. So do you have something in place so when the time comes, you are ready to go?
Well, what strategies do you find best when trying to educate someone?
So understanding you have to come to every client or every person, every prospective, client at their level. You can't come to them at your level, right? Because where I may be at may not be where Mr. Smith is. So me coming to him at this level, he may already say, you know what, he thinks he's better than me. He thinks it's whatever. So understanding, and how do you break things down so you can understand and say, hey, okay, what is your goals? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to leave your family? Or are you just trying to make it and survive? So first we have to identify what we are looking for and what our dreams and aspirations are. And what game plan can you put in place so you can hit that goal? So basically just taking to the ground level. What do you want? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to make sure you pass something down to your kids? Okay, how does that look like? Then that's where we come in and we start formulating a plan to get you to that position. Is it going to happen, next week? No. Everything is going to take time. It's a step-by-step process that's going to make sure we get to where we got to go.
So what strategies do you use to help educate people on having financial literacy and making them comfortable with it?
Yeah, so that's a great question, right? So you have to, me as a banker and other bankers, we have to come at this in a way that makes our clients and prospects comfortable, right? You have to come at them at their level and not me as a banker's level, because what I know is totally different and a little bit more than what Mrs. Smith, Ms. Jane may know, right? So you have to understand, okay, I'm going to come to you at this level and figure out, okay, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? What is your purpose, right? Do you want to make sure your kids, your grandkids are okay? So do you need a trust? Do you want to make sure your business is good and you can pass it on to the next generation? Do you want to make sure you can buy multiple properties? Do you want to make sure you can retire, comfortably and be able to travel? What are you trying to get at? So that's where we have to start a conversation and figure it out. Okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z. What steps can I take to get me to do X, Y, and Z? So a lot of times people don't want to talk about it. People are afraid to talk about it, and they just don't know how to talk about it or where to go to talk about it. And it's kind of like taboo in our community, especially, to kind of bring it up and talk about finances, talk about, hey, is my Social Security income going to be enough for me to retire? Will I be able to pay my bills? will I have enough money to, to buy food when I retire? So it's all about having a plan and knowing it's not going to happen tomorrow. You have to start putting things in place the very moment you get a chance to have any extra residual income, to kind of start planning and just planning and knowing, okay, this is for the future. I'm going to put things in place, and you just got to keep at it. It's you have to be disciplined. So discipline is one of the biggest things that we need to have in our community, to know, hey, just because I saved, $10,000 don't mean I can go spend it. We have to be disciplined enough to just keep the funds, let it do what it's going to do. Because the economy will change, things will go up, things will go down, and you have to know, you have to put in a long-term strategy to get you to those goals.
So tell me the difference between helping people financially versus businesses.
Okay, that's actually a very great question, right? Because it's actually one and the same, if you actually want to think about it. So first, helping people. Due to federal rules and banking regulations, we have to treat every person the same, right? Black, white, Hispanic, yellow, brown, whatever. You have to treat everybody the same. So if you come to me and say, hey, I'm looking for a home equity line, or I want to buy a piece of land, right? The criteria that I'm going to look for is your debt to income, right? So as long as your debt to income isn't more than what we are looking for, then we are good to go. We just want to make sure you have enough money coming in to pay for whatever the new debt obligation is, right? That's how that would work on the consumer side. As long as you have enough W2 income, you're good. If you are self-employed and you want to buy a house, again, buy a vehicle, equipment, or whatever, we are looking at your income from your sole proprietor income if you are a self-employed person. So we just need to see 3 years of tax returns, financials, to make sure you have a good year-over-year income to pay the loan. Because you can have one good year, and you can have the last 2 years were pretty terrible. We as a bank, we have to look at it and decide, is it a good trend for us to lend you this money, right? As a sole proprietor. So that's how we would look at it. But if you have a W2 income and you can start a new job and get that offer letter, you can use that offer letter and get you a loan.
Right.
As long as your credit score is above the minimum requirement, and each financial institution is different, then we're good to go. Some products, some banks may want you to be at, 660. Some other products, 680. Some of them, 700. So it just depends on you going to the right bank and figuring out, hey, who can help me? You can have 5 banks on the same street, and all 5 of them will do something different. Mm-hmm. So it's up to you to find out who can help you.
Right.
So that's for the personal side.
Right.
On the business side, it's all gray. So consumer, we have to follow the rules. Everybody's the same. Business side, it's gray.
Kelly and Wayne, thank you for becoming a subscriber to the Smoke and Ice podcast and are preparing the best possible content for your continued support. If you'd like to offer suggestions on topics you'd like to see covered or interviews you'd like to see, simply leave a comment or drop them a line in the Contact Us section. Visit smokeandice.net today.
Today on Smoke and Ice, we're talking to Manny Opoku Jr., the financial genius.
All right, so just before the break, we were talking about debt to income ratio, how important that is, your credit score. Knowing your credit score is very, very, very important before even going into a bank. Now, granted, people like this gentleman right here can certainly assist you in leading you in the direction to get some things straight if you have to. But that's something you want to do. And each bank, as we discussed before, is different. So you want to do your research before you walk in, because sometimes we work hard to get to where we are to make our credit scores better. And then sometimes we can be a little deflated if we worked hard, but we walked into the wrong bank.
That's correct.
So let's continue on with finding out more great gems, because today is really, really good. I'm so excited about it.
When it comes to business banking and business lending, it's all gray. because you have to look at it in a sense. It's not as regulated as on the consumer side. So I can say, hey, I'll give you this loan if you bring X amount of dollars into a deposit, because every bank is looking for something different.
Right.
The banks want your full relationship, right? So you having all the loans with one bank and no deposits may be good for a while. Then the bank is going to start asking, hey, when can we get your deposits as well? We don't want you to have your deposits with bank number B and have your loans with bank number A. They want the whole thing. So how can you make sure the bank is going to want to see it if you want a loan? And that's just how it works on the business side. On the consumer, we have debt to income ratio. On the business side, it's called your debt service coverage ratio, right? Just like the consumer side, we want you to be able to cover your debts and your obligations so many times. And that kind of lets us know that if we give you $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, you can have enough income revenue to pay this debt after you've paid all your other expenses, your payroll, your insurance, your everything else, that you have enough money to pay this loan. So banks look at it in a way to say, hey, your past is prologue, right? That's how banks look at it. So the last 2023, 2024, your company made enough income to pay this debt if you had this debt. So if you have a debt of $500,000, and we will look at it in the sense of saying you made $2 million. If you had this new $500,000 debt, would you have been able to pay your monthly, loan? So that's how we would look at it. And that's where the debt service coverage ratio comes in. Every bank is different. And that's how banks look at it.
And I'm glad that you brought up businesses. What are some of the common mistakes that you see businesses make financially?
Business owners taking all the money from the business. That's one of the biggest mistakes, as well as deducting every single expense. Even as long as they are legitimate expenses, right? They are deducting all the expenses. The funny thing is, by doing that, you don't have any income for us to see if you can pay any debt. So let's say, for an example, I have a client who makes $2 million, right? And he has, $500,000 or $1 million in expenses. Then he turns around and pays himself another $500,000. Now he has no income for me to say, what if he had this debt of $500,000 or $700,000 for a loan or for the building he's trying to buy? Does he have enough income? Right. So a lot of businesses and a lot of people don't want to pay taxes, which I totally understand, right? By reducing your taxable income and deducting all your expenses and all your deductions, you pay less in taxes, right? But doing that, it shows us you don't have any income. So why will a bank give you a loan if you don't have any income showing in your tax returns? Right. Because you had so many deductions. So we want to make sure we are deducting the correct things and not frivolous things, right? As long as the your CPA and attorney are telling you this is a good deduction and you can do it, do it. If it's not, don't do it, because that's taken away from your income that we can use to get you approved for a loan. So
what if I'm a startup company? I'm just starting, got, business name, did all the legal paperwork, but I have no funding. I need funding to get started.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So that is very that's very hard.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of banks want matured businesses. They want you to be around for at least 2 years before they start doing something with you, right? So the first thing you have to do is figure out what type of business do you want to start. A lot of times people don't know what banks do. So before you even start your business, I want you as the business person, the business owner, you need to research what the niche industries that the banks are willing to lend to. Because if you have an industry, you start an industry that the bank doesn't like, it doesn't matter if your credit score is 850, you will not get a loan.
It's hard in entertainment.
Yes.
Don't do entertainment, guys.
Yes, it's very hard in entertainment. And one of the industries that banks don't really like lending to is restaurants. Right?
Yeah.
Because what if we have another pandemic and everybody decides to stay home? How is the restaurant going to make money to pay its bank loan? So you need to figure out what industry can I get money for?
So that's a gem because I never thought about that. So what are some other industries that the banks tend to stay away from if they can?
Prior to COVID, we loved the transportation industry.
Right.
Because it kept things going, kept things moving, right? You know, from point A to point B, California to New York, right? Everybody wanted to get into transportation during COVID because it's sort of money that they were making. So you have people in IT who want to, they want to own a truck, right? The one thing they forgot to do was account for not if my truck breaks down, but when it breaks down. You have to have the foresight to say, I'm going to put, a little bit on the side. My rule of thumb is for every dollar you make, put 33 cents on the side for when your truck breaks down, right? They didn't do that. So a lot of folks did not know what they were getting themselves into. And what happened was when the truck broke down, because these trucks are $250,000, $300,000.
Right, yeah.
And if the truck is not running, or if it's raining for a week like it has been, you can't work. So what happened was they did not plan and account for when the truck breaks down, how am I going to do it? And they were saying, hey, bank, I don't have any loads. I can't make any runs. My drivers cannot work. So I can't pay this, $5,000, $6,000 monthly loan. And then the banks ended up with a collateral with the trucks. Banks are not in the trucking business.
Right.
They're in the money lending business. So what is the bank going to do with a truck? So as a result, the industry, a lot of people messed up the industry for the already existing truckers, right? Who've been doing it for 20, 30 years. So now it's looked at as a high risk industry. And they've made it in a way that you have to really know what you're doing.
Right.
You have to really be around for a few years for the bank to say, okay, you know what you're doing, I'll give you some money. Go ahead.
I know I was going to say the fuel alone on a truck is expensive. The tires, and we see the tires blow out all the time.
Yep.
So we all have dreams. We all have things that we want to do.
Yep.
Plan, and you never want to look at the negative in anything, but if you know all of what could possibly happen and you calculate all of that, then you know what your overhead will possibly be. And that's in any, not just trucking. If you want to open up a boutique, if you want to do anything, guys, do your homework and do your research or reach out to someone.
Talk to a banker.
Talk to a banker. Right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep giving you more gems, guys. I just wanted to let you know that as you're watching, let's keep these things in mind because we all have things we want to do. And let's do them the right way because it's time for us to actually live. And I said this last week. You should have watched it. You better have watched it. But I said this last week. We all want to live the American dream, but we have to do it the right way. We can all do it. We just have to do it the right way.
Okay. Anything else? Straight?
No, straight. So, sometimes we just gotta,
teaching, preaching. Okay. So, as we talked about in the community, it's almost like a taboo to talk about financial stability. What does First Citizen do as an outreach to partner up to help people either get housing or to get financially stable to try to assist them? What type of outreaches are you guys doing? Programs.
So, at the onset, I said my passion is to give back to the community as much as I can.
Right.
I've made it my mantle to fight and give back and educate and give the knowledge to the community, right? So every bank is different. Every bank has their own programs, products to kind of help, and sometimes banks don't really talk about it a lot, right? So the only way to find out is, again, going to the bank and just asking, hey, what kind of programs do you guys have? At First Citizens on the consumer side, one of the bank's biggest initiatives is to help people get into homes. So they have put some money aside to say, hey, we will help you get into a home, right? We will try to reduce your interest rate by 1.25. They have a few initiatives that we are actually working with a lot of realtors who do buy and sell to help folks get into homes. So one initiative is reducing the interest rate by 1.25. Another initiative is reducing your total funds to closing, right? So they are giving up to $10,000 in closing costs, and they also have a grant for $15,000 towards closing costs and other things, right? And they are trying to get minorities to get into homes. You have to have a certain, income bracket to kind of, qualify for these initiatives. So that's a little bit of something that, the bank is trying to do to help folks get into homes. So that's one way.
Right.
And I just talk about the program. I just talk about what we do, what I do, and how I can help folks. Being in the bank, you know how the sauce is made, right? So how can I say, hey, we have to do X, Y, and Z so we can get to this answer? So just saying, yep, let's make sure your credit score looks good. Let's make sure your expenses are not too high. Let's make sure, you have a plan, a solid plan, and let's start taking those steps.
Right.
And you gotta have a banker, right? Everybody has a preacher. You have a pastor. You have a doctor. Why don't you have a banker? So I ask people like, who's your bank? And they say Wells Fargo. State Employees Credit Union, Truist. No, who's your banker? Do you have a name?
Right.
Do you have somebody you can call, somebody you can text, email, and say, hey, I have this going on. Can I run this by you? Is this a good purchase? Should I wait? Or should I just go ahead and do it now? Pull the trigger on it right now, right? So you got to have that person that you can reach out to as your confidant. You need that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of misconceptions about banks, and which stops people from getting a banker. What can you tell our audience to get them to find a banker for themselves so that we can do all of these things that we've been talking about today?
Perception is reality. I hate to say it, but perception is reality, right? So you may walk into a bank and they may be like, you don't have two dimes to your name. So they may not give you the attention you need. And this is true in our community, right? So just know that could happen. I'm not saying it does, but that could happen. Just go to a bank and say, hey, I want to talk to the business banker. I have some questions I want to ask. And just go in and talk to the business banker and say, hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. And before you do that, go on the website. Look at the programs. Look at the offerings that the bank has, right? So you kind of already know going in what kind of things they have.
Right.
And just go in or the best thing to do is actually set an appointment. Because most of the times the bankers have a multitude of things. Call them and set a schedule and book an appointment. If you book an appointment, the banker has it on his calendar, his or her calendar, and they can know, okay, John Doe is coming in at 11 o'clock.
Right.
And I have an hour set for John Doe, right? Then have your questions, go in, and just talk to that banker.
Hey, if you can book for your doctor, which is needed, you need to book for a banker.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned something that a lot of our community don't know about or fail to gain more knowledge of.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain the trust?
Having a trust is another way to pass on your assets to your family, to your grandkids, to your lineage, to the people that come after you, right? The government has some policies in place that makes it easier to transfer your wealth and assets to your next generation. Of course, I'll always say, consult your CPA, consult your attorney, talk to them, okay? I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, I have to say that. But you do a trust is a way to pass on, assets, while, mitigating some of the tax burdens that come with if it wasn't in a trust, or if you had to go to probate, right?
Right.
So a trust is one of the ways and avenues that people of financial wherewithal can pass on everything that they've worked for, all the blood, all the sweat equity, everything that you've worked for, to your next generation. And also, if it's in a trust, you as a trustee, you can put in language
Right.
that controls how the trust goes and how the assets, get used
Right.
in perpetuity,
I got
even
you,
if you're
bro.
not here. So,
Right.
yeah.
Because probate can take 60 days to a year or years. And we all know the famous folks that did not have even a will in place, and their stuff got tied up. Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
right? Prince.
Yep.
So many people, and you have so many people then fighting over. So if you've already got it laid out, it is what it is. It's already written.
Yeah, and it's up to us to kind of make it easy for the next generation, right? So whatever you can do to make it easy for them, that's what we have to do. And a trust is one of them.
Yeah. So what is your long-term vision in combining your banking expertise with your passion for community and educating the community?
That's a very good question. My long-term vision is to keep doing this till I can't anymore, right? So community development, that's huge for me. But with my banking acumen, how can I take that to just pass it on and teach and help? One of the biggest things that I want to get into is succession planning, right? We don't have a plan as to what's next. We don't have a plan. A lot of people, businesses, consumer, and the business side don't have a means and a way to say, hey, what happens if, something happens to me and I'm not here tomorrow? Who's going to take over? I know it's very morbid, and in our community, we don't like talking about morbid stuff. So, but we have to. It's going to happen to everybody. So why not have something in place so it kind of depicts what you need and what you want for the next generation, right? So succession planning is something that has to happen. Most of the times you have folks who start businesses, they have 2-3 kids, and the kids, the parents work very, very hard, and the kids kind of grew up pretty better than the parents,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
And they don't want nothing to do with the parents' business because that's not what they want to do. They have their own passion, their own, what dreams and aspirations. So they don't want nothing to do with it. So then what does the mom and dad who worked 30 years for that business, what do they do? Nobody wants it. That's where you talk to your banker, okay? You can have a plan in place. You can get an evaluation of your business. You can find buyers for that business. Then the bank, who is a fiduciary, which means they are doing and working in your best interest, right, will make sure your business gets sold. They're not going to sell the business for you, but they're going to put things in place to get an evaluation done and everything completed. They can sell, your business gets sold. Now, all those assets, now the bank or the fiduciary can make sure your wishes are met. They can make sure this money is put into X, Y, and Z for the kids, for the grandkids. They can set up a trust fund. Right. So any kid that comes after can apply to get college tuition. They can put in, nonprofits, charities, right, to make sure things are set up. So you can apply for that trust fund. So that's what I would say is we just need a plan. We need to sit down and think about it and be strategic about it, because just going on your whim, it's not gonna work.
Right.
You need a plan, and you need a banker, and a CPA, and then an attorney.
Right. So, have you seen where there have been businesses that have been open for a long time, but they just seem to struggle? Are you able to? How quickly can you, having the right banker, turn that situation around for that company? Because you see a lot of people that have just been open, they've just been getting by the skin of their teeth, barely paying for everything. Like how does that work?
So a lot of times, one thing that a lot of businesses don't know is your own operating cycle. If you have a business and you ask a business owner, tell me about your operating cycle, they're gonna say, what? What do you mean? What's going on? Your operating cycle is how long does it take cash when it's injected into the business, to go from cash to your product to selling to recouping that cash, collecting the cash, and it goes back to cash. A lot of times folks don't know. So you have to know your operating cycle, and having a banker they'll be able to help you and say, it took you 31 days, 80 days for that cash to go from cash to product to selling back to cash. So a lot of times people say, hey, I need a line of credit. I don't have any money right now. I'm waiting on something. That means your operating cycle is not in line and it's not in sync with the industry. So you have to know how long it takes. That's what's going to determine how much cash you need. So your banker will be able to take your tax returns, your P&L, balance sheets and income statements, and review them and say, hey, Mr. Smith, Mr. Paul, Ms. Jane, whatever, your business is taking this long. Your industry, let's say, takes you 80 days. Your industry is working it in 60 days. Okay? Where's the problem? That means it may be in your collection. It may be you have way too many inventory. If you have inventory, that means you don't have cash. You spent that cash to buy that inventory. So that means you are now low on cash. So that means you don't have to hold on to a lot of inventory. Think, oh, this is going to sell. This is going to be good. No. You have to know what the industry is doing and align yourself with that industry. If your industry is collecting payments after the job is done in 15 days and you are saying 30, they have 2 more weeks of cash that you don't. So you just got to figure out, again, talk to your banker. They can help you analyze and say, what is the industry doing? How am I comparing with the industry so I can be a better suited business and make sure I'm collecting my money as fast, make sure I have my cash, make sure I can buy that product, or I can deviate and have a different stream of products so I can make extra money for my business.
Right. And for anyone that's new to business, he mentioned a P&L. That's your profit and loss statement. So that means how much you're bringing in and how much is going out, and it'll give you your bottom line.
I met Manny at a event. It was a couple months ago last year.
It was January. It was January. Yeah.
January. So I met Manny at an event. So this event was for the National Black MBA Association. Now I don't have an MBA, but I saw it on Eventbrite and was like, hey, let me see what this is about. One of the best decisions I made, because I got a chance to meet some great people and I got a chance to get to know this brother. He was the first person that greeted me, and ever since then, every time something's going on or we hit it up and we can meet up, it's excellent. Pool master too. This guy, listen, I'm not even close to all right. This guy here? Okay, all right.
I'm sorry.
So tell us a little bit about the National Black MBA Association, man. What do you guys do, man? Because it's a phenomenal organization.
Yeah. So I am a chair for the National Black MBA on the membership committee. Okay. I was invited to join to be a speaker sponsor for the National Black MBA Association by a past sitting board member. So I went to the event. I saw what they were doing. The National Black MBA's aim is to uplift the Black community, make sure we are good, equitably, make sure we know the pitfalls that the ones before us fell into, make sure we don't fall into it. Make sure there's equity on the professional side and you have people to talk to and uplift everybody, right? So that's the core mission, is to help the community, bring everybody up. So me as a banker and me having that passion to help my community, it kind of it goes hand in hand.
Right.
So me finding a group that I can do what I'm doing and share that knowledge and that information was a no-brainer. So the group is the National Black MBA of the Triangle and Triad. We have over 260 members, all spread around through the Wake County, Durham County, the Triangle and the Triad region. And our mission is to just help professionals who look like us, because sometimes we are the only ones who look like us in the boardroom, right? So how can you make that process a little bit less intimidating, right? How can you kind of bring somebody else along and just pull them up a little bit because you've been it, you've done it.
Right.
And that's why I like the National Black MBA. And just giving back to the community. I've done a lot of events with the National Black MBA through the bank. The bank has helped me give and share a lot of knowledge. The mortgage initiatives I've been able to share with the National Black MBA. We've had a lot of speakers come talk about different financial literacy, financial education, because everything flows, together, right? You can be a professional making, a decent living, but are you really managing the way you need to be managing it? Or do you have the resources, or do you have the people you can tap and ask, about what's going on? So the National Black MBA, it's phenomenal. Again, you don't have to have an MBA to join the National Black MBA, and it's open to everybody, all races, all age groups. They have a younger group called the Leaders of Tomorrow, the LOT program, basically mentoring kids from 12 to 18, helping them with case studies, helping them so they can get ready like their peers who've had this opportunity growing up. So when they go to college, they know what to say, they know how to act, they know how to fit in, right? So that's one of the programs that I really like and love is the LOT program.
Right.
So if anyone has a student between the age of 12 and 18, how do they get them involved in that?
So they can reach out to me, and I can connect them with the membership, with the chair for the National Black MBA for the LOT program, or the vice president for the LOT program. And their kids, it's once a month, they volunteer, and everybody who's helping with the kids is somebody who's volunteering. So they can come in, they'll help them with case studies, prep, and basically getting you ready for what's next. That's one thing that a lot of us did not have.
Right.
If you didn't have a parent who made it past, high school, college, you don't know what's next. So this group is helping kids so they are ready for the next step. Like out of the free will and goodness of the volunteer's heart, they just want to give back. So how can we help the next generation so they don't fall in the same pitfalls that we had? Right? If I had somebody who I knew said, "Hey, Manny, do X, Y, and Z. This will make your life a lot easier in your banking career," that would have been great. So if I can share this knowledge and what I've learned to the next generation, I feel like I'm doing something good.
So let's say you've missed that program, because I missed that program, and I've just recently had my daughter go off to college. Is there any type of program for students that are in college?
A lot of banks do a lot of internships.
Okay.
And you just have to, it's not advertised as much, right? So the onus falls on us to say, hey, I'm going to Google what programs do this Fortune 500 company have? What programs is out there? And you just got to find it, right? Once you find it, just apply. A lot of these programs have grants, have scholarships. These big companies who will give you money just to learn, because every company wants to do good, right? Good publicity goes a long way. So you want to make sure, hey, if I help 1, 2, 3 kids, that's good publicity, right? So that the companies get something out of it, and they also help the kids so they can learn. It's asking the tough questions and not being afraid of rejection. That's one thing that we all gonna get, right? You have to ask those questions. So, hey, I want to be an engineer. Hey, I want to do this. Okay, what does that entail? Right? Okay, do I know anybody? Okay, Google, LinkedIn, find somebody. Hey, I'm a rising senior. I'm a freshman. I saw that you got into this field. Do you have a few minutes to chat? Right? Somebody's gonna respond.
All right, so Manny, before we get out of here, is there anything else you would like to tell our viewers, man?
Most of the time when you turn 18, you get a bunch of credit cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get in the mail, you've been approved for this credit card, you've been approved for that credit card. Don't do it.
Right.
Because if you overspend on those credit cards, your utilization gets messed up.
Right.
And if you don't pay it on time, that messes with your future lending power.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So we were talking about having a solid business plan. What is the most important part of that business plan that we need to focus on? Because a lot of people get caught up in the mission statement. If I don't say the right things, but what is the most important part of that business plan?
So every part of the business plan is important and significant in its own way. When I was an underwriter, I want to make sure my clients understand what you're doing and what, if they have a plan, a strategy, right? Okay, I have this 5-year projection. This is what's going to happen. But we all know projection is just hope, right? Because something can happen and that projection, it's not usable, right? You can't really use it. The biggest thing banks look at is, how do we get our money back? Because the bank is also a business. Just like you have your business, everybody has their business. Right. The bank is a business. They have to think about it. How do we get paid? We are trusting that you will be able to pay us back on time. Because if not, we are losing as well. So the biggest thing the bank has to look at is, what are you doing? What is your strategy to pay me back? And that's why if you've been around for at least 2 years or whatever, it can kind of tell and gauge that, okay, you know what you're doing. You have some business acumen and you can help me get my money back, right? But you have to have an industry that the bank likes and trusts. So one, pick the right industry. It may not be your dream industry. It may be something that, hey, I really want to do, I want to go sailing. I want to do boats. I want to do whatever. I want to have shoes. But that's not going to pay the bills. The bank's not going to give you money to do that. So that can be your hobby, but you have to pick an industry that you can get financing for. Because if it's plumbing, HVAC, electrician, these are industries that we know everybody needs. When your HVAC blows, you got to get a new one. Right. Plumbing, you got to get it done. So you have to pick an industry, one, that the bank will feel comfortable to lend in and have a plan to pay the bank back. The biggest thing, make sure you have your own personal liquidity. Don't start a business and you don't have any money saved. The bank will lend you money if you have money. Right. If you have money, the bank will lend you money.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? For all you, I'm an entrepreneur. Did you hear that? That's all I'm gonna say.
The bank will lend you money if you have money, because they know you don't really need them. Right. Right? But if you have something, okay, we can put in a savings account, a money market account. The bank can use it as collateral in case something happens. And that's for the new, upstarts, right? Right. You save up some money and you have to grow gradually. You cannot go in and swing for the fences. Right. Start small, figure it out, and go from there and scale up. Gotcha. Don't scale so big that your expenses is eating into all your profit and you have nothing to show for it. Starting small, it's not a bad thing. It's not a failure. You have to start where you can start and what your finances and what your pocketbook is telling you can start. Right. Then gradually scale up. Yeah. And by doing that, the bank can see it. Oh, you mitigated risk, you took your time, and that makes you a better clientele for the bank. Right.
The most successful people that I've ever run into are not flashy. And that's what we have to learn not to be. We all want the best cars, the nice clothes, and everything else like that. But if you have a dream and you want to be successful in that, instead of buying that purse and those shoes, and I'm guilty of that because I like my purses and I like my shoes. But instead of, and we all need to be that way. And it's not about being cheap, it's about being smart. No, if you want to grow.
And strategic.
And strategic.
And frugal and strategic. Whatever
if you want to grow, he's different, he's exception to the rule. But if you want to grow, you got to put that money that you would have gone to buy something and put it in the bank. Because like Manny said, if you want to lend, the bank will lend to you, be lendable, thank you. Then you have to have money in the bank. So let's start off right now and go into 2026 in being lendable and have a bank be able to tell you, yes, you're worth us taking the risk on you and your business.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, certainly.
So everybody's entitled to your credit report. You can have a great business, be a plumber, HVAC, a business that we love, the niche industries, a vet, a doctor, whatever, right? If you have bad credit, we're not gonna lend to you. Right. You can make $300,000. If your credit is 620, we're not lending, right? So everybody's entitled to credit report once a year for free. from all the 3 credit bureaus. What I advise my clients on is pull each bureau each quarter. Pull Equifax one quarter. Pull TransUnion one quarter. Pull Experian the other quarter. Yeah. You want to make sure what's being reported is accurate, right? Because sometimes somebody may have the same name, and some things may get reported on your credit score that's not yours. So if you pull your credit report at least once a quarter for free, and it's a free annualcreditreport.com, it will ask for your social. It's gonna ask, did you have a car, a Toyota Camry from 2000? It's gonna ask you questions that only you know. You can get your credit report for free. Get it, review it. If something is not right, call, have them take it off because it's not you, and you can know where you stand.
One of the best experiences that I have when it comes to money is watching my money make money. I don't have to spend it.
Nope.
I get so excited when I see my money making money. That's good enough for me. It should be good enough for you, because knowing you have it is a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, that's a great point. Live off your interest. Live off your interest if you can. I know we are running.
My uncle taught me that.
I know we are running low on time, and we got to pick it up again. We got to do this again, right?
Yes, definitely.
Because there's so much I want to share and give. It basically live off the interest, and if your company, if your day job, if you're 9 to 5, you want your 9 to 5 to fund your next job, right? So your 9 to 5, if it has a 401k plan, please participate in it.
Please.
Do what your company is doing, because that's free money. If your company's matching, do it. Put some money aside and reduce your taxable income, because you are doing that by putting money in your 401k and investing it. Then that money is going to keep growing. Have a financial advisor and let that money grow.
Right.
And we're going to definitely have him back in a very short time, because when he said that, I had a whole other hour of what we could talk about, and we can't do it right now. But I just want to thank everybody who is watching. Please tell someone else, because these are gems that were dropped today, and you don't want to miss them. Guys, we've got to do better with our finances. We've got to be healthy with our finances and turn things around for us and for our future generation. And let's start having these conversations. When we sit down, let's not talk about what people did at school or what happened at work. That's all fine and dandy, but let's have these financial conversations with our children, with each other, so that we're aware of where we stand and how we can be better.
And you know the best part about it? We didn't try to sell you nothing. We didn't try to persuade you nothing. We didn't try to get you to buy or anything. We gave you free knowledge on how you can be better in your finances. So please tell somebody, watch this episode 4 times if you have to, just to get the tidbits that this financial genius is putting down. Manny, man, it was a pleasure, man.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and he's
smoke.
Yes.
Smoke.
Hey, listen, excuse me. And he's always, now you gotta hold that up. He is also a wood watch connoisseur and brewmaster of Brazil and Uganda.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about that. Oh my gosh, we got so wrapped up. But the next time, I promise you, next time we will get into all of that.
Kelly, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
How can they reach you, Manny? If people want to reach out, give us information.
You can reach me on my work email. It's Manny, MANNY .OPOKUJR @firstcitizens.com.
Amazing.
Reach
out. Get a banker.
Preferably Manny.
Thank you.
We're going to have you so busy.
Thank you.
Listen, this has been an amazing episode of Smoke and Ice. Make sure to like, subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, we can't be here.
Click that thumbs up.
Yes. Again, I'm Kelly.
I'm Wayne.
I'm Manny.
And let's spark something real.
We hope you've enjoyed Smoke and Ice with Kelly and Wayne. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend so they too can be informed and entertained. For more information about the show, go to smokeandice.net.